This is Justin from New Wave Painting, and I'm here to talk to you quickly about painting a house that's already been painted in oil. This one in particular was painted probably 30 years ago. I've done all the preliminary drywall work and priming of those patches, but when I come back in here to paint, I'm going to be using primer because otherwise your acrylic or latex top coat's not going to adhere to the surface. So obviously before we put even our primer on, we want to go ahead and go throughout the whole place, take a rag and kind of clean off door trim, window trim, baseboards, maybe even a dirty brush sometimes, a throwaway brush that you're never going to use again. You can use that to dust off your surfaces and prepare them for your prime coat. That way you don't get any of that stuff in your primer and create unnecessary or gross textures on your walls. After your primer is done, now you've got a great bonding surface for your top coat. So then you can go ahead and paint over top of that primer without the latex or the acrylic scraping off the wall like it would if you didn't prime an oil painted wall. In this particular case, we're going to go with a nice zero VOC paint to improve the environmental quality and reduce our impact in the environment, as well as the air quality for the new residents who do move into this place. It's a Benny Moore product. I'm pretty religious about it. A lot of guys are on the fence about whether or not they want to do that or a cheap commercial, but it's win-win when you go with a zero VOC. Sherwin-Williams also offers a lot of great products, and Deluxe and ICI are getting on the bandwagon a little bit more these days. We're going to go with a contemporary kind of color for this place to brighten it up and give new appeal and new life to the unit. So the point of this conversation today is when you've got walls or surfaces that have oil on them, you always have to make sure that you prime those in order for the latex or the acrylic to stick. Okay, so our other option for priming oil painted walls, this is option B. The first option was to prime with the oil-based primer to seal that oil so that we could paint with an acrylic or latex on top of that. The other option is to go 100% acrylic. The acrylic primer is created at the molecular level in such a way that that the primer itself actually bonds to the surface that you're priming it to. So it's got that kind of that gripping capability that enables it to seal in the oil and allow for a latex to go on top of that without scratching off like you normally would with an oil. So I've decided to go with a 100% acrylic rather than the oil in this unit because A, it's water-based and you can wash it away with water, which is better for the water table and the ecosystem here in our great city and the world at large. And also the volatile organic compounds are going to be lower as well because there's less outgassing. So it's win-win. It's a few dollars more a gallon in this particular case with the brand I'm going with from Benjamin Moore, but all around it's better. Also, to make things easier and more cost-effective for the co-op itself, I've tinted the primer so that when we do put on that first top coat, I won't need two top coats. So the first tint of the primer will actually act as not only a primer but as a base coat for my top coat, which is going to be color matched to that exact same color that we were using in the primer. So with that, here we go. Alright, so we're just going to speed things up for you here, and away we go. So there you can see the cutting just before this clip here, and as we move into our speed motion video, our lapse time video, I just want to let all you know that to cut and roll of this size, which is generally about 12 by 12, between 10 and 12 by 12 by 8 feet, should take you about an hour to cut and roll that whole room. If you're changing paints and moving things, might take you up to an hour and a half, but it should never take you any longer than that. So here's our time-lapse video just to speed up the process, to show you what it looks like to properly put on that primer. You can see how it stretches really nice and farther than a top coat. Um, and it's designed to do that because it's just meant to prime and seal that surface to get that ready for a top coat. And so now we're going to speed things up even faster in the time-lapse video just to get a move on here in the clip. But you get the idea of what's going on here. And again, here's another clip here showing some hard to reach places in this time-lapse shot. You can see I can go a little bit farther than when you're using a latex top coat because the primer's thinner and it'll spread a lot farther. It's also really important to make sure that your paint is still wet as you're rolling over the edges, usually like a 50% overlap of your line, and that way the paint will level properly, because if you paint over a line that's dry, you'll create a ridge and it'll be two coats of paint at that point, right? You want it all to be one uniform wet coat. So as we come to the close of our video on priming oil painted walls with either acrylic or oil-based primer, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to us, like us, and share us on YouTube and Facebook.